Welcome to room 9, the region's largest classroom. I am Mrs. Wright and I teach at Monroe Elementary in St. Charles. Today I will be teaching a reading lesson meant for second graders, but you know it, as always, everyone of all ages, adults, children, anyone, whoever, everybody is welcome to learn with us. All right, let's get our brains and bodies ready to learn. All right, so we're gonna stretch up, to the side. Woo. Oh, I think I can hear Molly coming. Molly, hi, do you wanna say hello? Yeah, say hi. Come here. Oh, good girl, come in, come on. You are outside golfing with Billy. Today is about the training that we did with Molly and how we give her a bath. And one is an article about baths. Yep, kind of like a how-to. And one of them is a training menu. So Molly, you want to do some deep breaths with us? Huh? Deep breaths? All right, here we go. Ready? Getting our brains and our bodies ready. Oh, you're blocking me. Brains and bodies ready to learn. You're obviously feeling better, aren't you? Good girl. All right, this whole week is about this little munchkin. We love you. Thanks for helping us learn about text structures. All right, bye, friend. Okay, so deep breathing, getting ourselves in the green zone, getting your brain and your body ready to learn. I'm a little bit in a distracted environment now because Mr. Wright is home from work, so I'm trying to ignore that. I have my music turned off, the TV's off, not worried about anything else, just focusing and ready to learn today. So let's go ahead and get started. We, like I said, are gonna go through 2 types of nonfiction text structures. And then if we have extra time, we are going to read about one of the, the leopards that we started a couple weeks ago when we were exploring nonfiction books. So, back to our story, our journey of Molly that we've been on all week long. We have talked about how we adopted her from my cousin, and then we researched what having a golden doodle was like, and then I kind of wrote an article to Mr. Wright talking about puppy or adult and what kind of dog we wanted. And then we finally made the decision to adopt Molly. And we were really excited, and I read you some of those journal entries, some of the things that were happening, and where we left off was some of the decisions that we had to make once she was ours, because she listened, but she was a puppy, so she played a lot. And we had to, learn that, man, she needs a bath more than just the times that she needs to go to the groomer. So she might need to go to the groomer, but what if she gets dirty? We're gonna have to figure out how to give her a bath. And we had to figure out the kind of food that she liked. And we decided that she needed to go to obedience classes and learn how to be a little bit more obedient. Right, Molly? Hey, Molly. She's right there. She's so obedient. She listens to Mr. Wright better than she listens to me, if I'm being honest. But that's okay. I can handle it. So this baths for dogs article is a sequenced text structure that tells you how to wash your dog. And you would think it would be kind of easy, but it wasn't. Dogs tend to shake their entire bodies when they get wet. And that means that dogs get water everywhere, all over. And it's very, very, very interesting when we give a giant golden doodle a bath. So we really didn't know how. So there was some information that we found, baths for dogs, and I followed it step by step, and I gave a lot of direction to Mr. Wright as he washed Molly for the first time. So let's go ahead and read this today. And as we're reading, I want you to notice what the sequence structure is. How do you know that this is happening in a sequence? And where might you find this? Could you find this in a newspaper, a magazine, on a website, in a book? Where would you find this kind of text structure? Okay, so baths for dogs. Need to know how to give your precious puppy a bath? Baths are very important because dogs get messy very easily. First, start filling up the bathtub. Make sure the temperature of the water isn't too hot or too cold. Dogs like the bath more when there's already a little water in the tub. Don't just fill it up, don't fill it up too much. Then turn on the shower head and get your dog wet. You can also use a cup to get your dog wet if they don't like the shower head. Next, use your favorite dog shampoo and wash their entire body with the shampoo, just like you would yourself. Be careful not to use too much. Use your hands to scrub the shampoo in really well and get your dog super clean. After that, use the shower head or a cup to rinse the shampoo from your dog's hair. Make sure the drain is open at this point so the water can start to drain from the tub because it's probably dirty water. Finally, grab some towels to dry off your dog. If your dog has a lot of hair, you might want to use the leaf blower or a hair dryer to start the drying process. Enjoy your freshly cleaned dog. So where is a place you think you might find this type of article? Yeah, I think you'd find it like online, maybe on a website, or maybe in a magazine like about dogs or how to take care of dogs. And it was sequenced like first do this, then do this, then do this, right? So this really helped us give Molly a bath for the first time. It didn't go perfectly because like I said, she didn't appreciate the shower head and I thought she would. So we turned it on and it soaked her wet and she started shaking and the curtain was open and she shook and the whole bathroom, I'm not even kidding, the whole bathroom was covered in water, in the dirty water, and everything. I was covered, Mr. Wright was covered. It was not pretty. It didn't go as we thought. So that means we probably should have used the cup. She didn't appreciate the shower head. So now we do use the cup a lot more. She's getting more used to the shower head, but she still doesn't love it. And she will hop out of the water pretty much any chance you get. So it takes the two of us to do it. She doesn't love water. She's kind of scared of it. So the whole tip of filling it up, like the tub with water first, did not work out for Molly. So this was helpful in the sense like don't put too much shampoo because you're gonna be rinsing it out of the dog's hair for a million years. That's kind of what happened too. So we followed this article, but Molly is very unique. So it didn't go exactly like we thought it was going to, all right? So baths for dogs. This is something we had to learn how to do at home. And we do use the leaf blower or the hair dryer to start drying her because she has so much hair. And then we brush her when we're done. It's a whole process. So I prefer to take her to the groomer, like I said at the beginning, but we can't take her to the groomer all the time because sometimes she gets in the mud and she can't come inside until we give her a bath. So during the summer, we usually give her a bath outside in this like kiddie pool thing that we have. It's much easier, but in like the winter and the colder weather, we have to give her bath inside. She's actually finally going to the groomer next week, so I'm excited for that. All right, so we conquered in our journey of adopting Molly. We've now conquered the bathing. We know how to bathe our giant teddy bear, and we had decided it was time to take her to training classes. So we got online, and because remember, the brochure at the beginning basically told us to Google things, which is what we do when we didn't know things. We Googled them, and we found a training facility that we liked, and they had a training menu. Okay, it was a list of options or choices that they offered for training your dog. So we decided she needed to learn to sit, to stay, to come. She needed to learn to follow our commands a little bit better. So we got this training menu, and we had to decide which option was best for us. So we went through each one of these options, and it says puppy, starting at 6 weeks. Teach your sweet pup how to be a dog. Begin to learn basic commands and good routines to establish. And I was like, that's perfect. But then I realized it said starting at 6 weeks. And when I called, because on the bottom it says call for pricing and to book your class. Not sure what the best class is for your dog? Call us and we will help you decide. We called because that's the class I wanted, and she was a little too old to do the puppy class. So the next class, I'm like, okay, whatever. I wanted that one. It says a little less puppy, 1 year or younger. This is great for the beginner pup who is ready to learn basic commands like sit, stay, come, and break. And I was like, I should have kept reading on the menu. Lesson learned, when there's a menu, read all of the choices before you call. All of the choices on the menu. That was the one that I thought was most fitting. So then you keep going and it says agility. Think your dog is best in show? Join us to learn amazing routines in agility. And I thought, you know, if we can't even sit, stay, come, we probably shouldn't be doing agility yet. And therapy dogs, 1 year or older. Think your dog would be a good emotional support? And that's the kind of class they want you to take. Now, eventually, I really hope that Molly could be a therapy dog. I don't think we're there yet. Maybe. I think she needs some time to maybe mature a little. But I called and I booked our class, and we went to, with the help of this menu and following the directions to call and book, we decided to book the class A Little Less Puppy, the beginner, and learn basic commands like sit, stay, come, and break. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to study this nonfiction piece that has certain text structures. And I want you to think about, do you think this is sequence? Do you think this is compare and contrast? Do you think this is describe, cause and effect? What kind of text features do you think, text structure, I keep saying text feature, text structure does this have? Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. It's sequenced a little bit in like, didn't use like first, next, then last, but it was like this stage, this stage, this stage, this stage, right? And then compare and contrast, it kind of did that too, because it was like young dogs, little dogs, or older dogs, really ready dogs. It kind of gave you a little bit of like, if your dog's like this, then it's probably not like this, comparing and contrasting. It definitely described each type of choice on the menu and what it would be like. Not a whole lot of cause and effect on here, but it did tell me, like, it really made me feel like if you bring your dog to training classes and you do it, it's gonna work out. So now let me tell you a little bit about how our training classes went. They were interesting. Molly, they ended up calling her a goofy doodle because she's just a little bit silly and kind of likes to do her own thing. So she definitely had a lot of fun. She definitely listens a lot better than she used to, even though she might not show it on the screen when I'm calling her name. She does listen a lot better. When we're playing, she knows when it's time to stop. So training definitely helped her. So throughout our journey of getting Molly, we had lots of different text structures because all of the research that we were doing, we were reading nonfiction information. And we weren't just reading like this kind of book. We weren't just reading, a book about this, right? Like we weren't reading an all about dogs because sometimes we needed specific information like golden doodles or training classes, or we'll learn tomorrow about recipes for her food. That's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. We needed specific kinds of information, and sometimes that information is presented differently than it would be in a book with like a heading and then just words, right? So I had to read those, and it's important to know when you're out there in the real world reading nonfiction that there's different kinds of nonfiction that you're gonna read, okay? Okay, so I really enjoyed taking you through our journey of Molly this week, and I hope that eventually she could be a therapy dog. I would love to be able to like take her to school with me. That's a dream. I don't know if it will ever happen. I don't even know all the rules with that, but maybe one day we'll get there because I think she would be really good at it. So that is our learning of text features. And we are going to wrap up our learning today with reading about some of the books that we started I think it was 2 weeks ago when we were studying nonfiction text features. So Endangered Leopards, this is being read with the permission from Crabtree Publishing Company. And actually, I'm jumping ahead. Before we get started on reading this book, I want you to think about what type of nonfiction text structure that we've learned about, because you can now identify and use them. What kind do you think you're going to use in your life? What do you see yourself using? Because I use a lot of these in my job, and I know Billy uses a lot in his job too. So what kinds of text structures do you think you're going to use in your job one day? Yeah. So like if you're going into sales, you're probably going to make a lot of flyers or brochures. If you want to be a writer, you're definitely going to be writing articles, right? Maybe you want to be a chef. You're going to have recipes and menus. Maybe you want to be like an author, and you're going to write your own stories that are kind of like diaries. Maybe you want to be someone who's a researcher and writes all kinds of articles. Maybe you're going to be a doctor who then writes articles to teach other people how to be doctors, right? So you're going to use these kinds of nonfiction text structures for all of your life. So it's awesome that you're already learning about them now, okay? All right. Endangered leopards. Let's catch up a little bit about this. I'm going to use the table of contents to decide. I want to read about leopards in captivity, which is on page 26. So let's go to page 26 and start reading. Looks like there's a heading on this page. Do you see the caption? The real pictures, the subheadings. Is there any bold words? Yep, there's a couple bold words. All right, let's get started. Leopards in captivity. Many leopards live in captivity. Animals in captivity are cared for by people. Some captive leopards live in zoos and some live in sanctuaries. A sanctuary is a place where people house or care for sick or injured animals. Sanctuaries also provide homes for animals that have been kept as pets. It is illegal to keep leopards as pets, but some people still do. Both zoos and sanctuaries offer people chances to see leopards up close and to learn more about them. So this is a real picture. The caption says, most captive leopards lead safe and healthy lives. Some leopards live for up to 20 years in captivity. The lives of leopards in captivity are very different from the lives of leopards in the wild. It's kind of sad. Breeding leopards. Some zoos have programs for breeding leopards. They bring together males and females to mate. Breeding programs allow leopards to raise their cubs in safe environments. Since most leopards have only 2 or 3 cubs at a time, it is important that every cub survives. Each cub that grows up to be an adult can also mate and have more cubs. When more cubs are born, the leopard population increases. Population is the total number of one type of animal living in a certain area. Cub sitting. Oh, it's so cute. People who work at zoos help mother leopards care for their cubs. They sometimes feed cubs with bottles to make sure the babies grow up to be healthy. This caption says, leopard cubs can get sore bellies after they eat. A gentle belly rub from a caregiver can solve the problem. All right, let's look at the heading to see what we're gonna, oh, I like this heading. It says people helping leopards. I definitely wanna know about that. Many people are working to help leopards survive. Researchers study leopards to learn more about how leopards behave, how much space they need, and how many leopards live in certain areas. Researchers also try to learn how old and how healthy leopards are in an area. Tracking leopards. Some researchers keep track of leopards by putting radio collars on them. The collars send out signals that let researchers know where the leopards are and how far they travel. Okay, so this leopard has been given drugs, so a radio collar can be put around its neck. The collar will help researchers keep track of the leopard. So that means that they gave him some type of drug that makes him like sleep so they can put a tracker on him and then he'll be fine. Helping at home. Many researchers involve local people in their work with leopards. They teach people who live near leopard habitats why it is important to track or to protect leopards. The researchers want to help the local people live safely alongside leopards. How you can help. The best way for you to help leopards is to learn about them and their habitats. Spread the word about dangers to leopards. The more people know and care about leopards, the better the chances are that leopards will survive. Ooh. All right, so that was just a little bit of getting our nonfiction minds going. I love reading nonfiction books, and I hope that you do as well. So I will see you back here tomorrow for something that's going to be very interesting, I'm sure. I've never done anything like it on TV, and I don't know if it will top me wearing the costumes that I wore last week, but we shall see. We are going to do something with a menu and a recipe, and Molly will definitely be in our show tomorrow. She was being a little stubborn today and other days this week. So I am so glad you were here with me today, and I hope you learned something, and just know that you are so loved and you are so cared for. All right? Stay well. Bye.
Teaching in Room 9 is made possible with support of Bank of America, Dana Brown Charitable Trust, Emerson, and viewers like you.